Hello coin lovers, history enthusiasts, and collectors from around the world. Welcome back to Old Charles today. We are diving deep into the fascinating story of a United Kingdom 5 new pence coin from 1971. We'll explore its history, features, collector value, and the role it played in Britain's coinage system. So, if you own one of these coins or you're just curious about its worth, stay tuned until the end to understand the 1971 5 new pence. We need to go back in time. In 1971, the United Kingdom made a huge change to its monetary system. This was known as Decimal Day, or D-Day, on 15th February 1971. Before this, Britain used the pounds, shillings, and pence system, which was quite complicated. 12 pence made a shilling, and 20 shillings made a pound to simplify the system and bring it in line with other countries. The UK switched to a decimal currency, where 100 pence equals 1 pound. The 5 new pence coin was introduced as part of this modernization, and it directly replaced the shilling. In fact, the 5 new pence had the exact same size and value as the old shilling, which made the transition smoother. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1971 5 new pence coin. The coin features the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This was the second definitive portrait of the Queen, used from 1968 to 1984. You'll see her wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, with a legend around it reading, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD. Which stands for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. The reverse was designed by Christopher Ironside. It shows the badge of Scotland, a crowned thistle, representing Scotland's importance in the Union. The words new pence are inscribed above, with the value 5 below. Diameter, 23.59 millimeters. Weight, 5.65 grams. Metal, copper nickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel. Edge, milled. This design remained in use until 1981, when a smaller 5p coin was introduced in 1990 to save space and metal. The 1971 issue of the 5 new pence is particularly significant because it was the first official decimal version. Millions were minted for circulation, making it very common at the time. People who were used to shillings quickly adapted. Since the new coin had the same dimensions and purchasing power, these coins stayed in circulation until the early 1990s, when the UK introduced the smaller-sized 5p coins. After that, the older, larger 5 new pence coins, like the 1971 issue, were demonetized in 1990, meaning they were no longer legal tender. Now let's get to the part most of you are waiting for, the value of the 1971 United Kingdom 5 new pence coin. Since the coin was minted in very high numbers, the standard 1971 5 new pence coin is not considered rare. In average circulated condition, it usually has a value equal to a few pence. Basically, it's worth more as a collectible than as money. Most coins in worn condition sell for around £0.10 to £0.30, or about 25 to 40 US cents. A coin in brilliant uncirculated or mint condition can fetch between £1 and £3, depending on the buyer. If you have the 1971 5p coin from a proof or mint set, it may be worth slightly more, sometimes up to £5 to £10. Especially if kept in original packaging. What really adds value is condition. Collectors prefer coins with minimal scratches, full details on the Queen's portrait, and clear inscriptions on the thistle reverse. So why do collectors still love the 1971 5 new pence if it's not very rare? The answer is its historical importance. This coin represents the beginning of decimalization in the UK, a major turning point in British coinage. It's also a nostalgic piece for people who lived through the 1970s and 1980s. For new collectors, it's a perfect starting coin because it's affordable, easy to find, and tied to a key moment in currency history. Some collectors even try to build a full set of decimal coins starting from 1971, and the 5 new pence is always included in that journey. In summary, the 1971 UK 5 new pence coin may not make you rich, but it is an essential piece of British numismatic history. Its value is modest, ranging from a few pence in circulated condition to a few pounds in pristine or proof quality. However, its true worth lies in its historical story marking the shift from the old shillings to the modern decimal system. So, if you have one of these coins in your collection, hold on to it. It's a little piece of history in your hand. To really understand the story of the 1971 United Kingdom 5 new pence coin, we need to go far back into British coinage history. For centuries, Britain used the pounds, shillings, and pence system. This was a very old and complicated form of currency, dating all the way back to the Anglo-Saxon era. The system worked like this: 12 pence made a shilling, 20 shillings made a pound. That meant there were 240 pence in 1 pound. This system had survived for hundreds of years, but by the 20th century, it had become impractical, especially for international trade, banking, and modern calculations. By the 1960s, Britain was under pressure to modernize its currency. Many other countries had already moved to simpler decimal systems, where 100 smaller units made one larger unit, just like 100 cents make a dollar in the U.S. The old system of 240 pennies per pound confused tourists, slowed down business, and made calculations in education and trade more difficult. After years of debate, the British government finally decided to change. On 15th February 1971, known as Decimal Day or D-Day, the United Kingdom switched to a decimal currency system. From this point forward, 1 pound would equal 100 new pence. This was a massive change for the country. Shops, banks, schools, and even the London Stock Exchange had to adapt overnight. Special training programs were run to teach people the new system. There were TV ads, leaflets, and posters all across the UK explaining how decimal coins would work. Even children were given educational materials in schools to help them get used to the new currency. Now, let's connect this to the coin we're talking about today, the 1971 5 new pence coin. This coin was directly based on the old shilling. Why? Because the shilling was worth 12 old pence, and in the new decimal system, that was almost exactly equal to 5 new pence. To make the change smoother, the government decided that the 5 new pence coin would be the same size, the same weight, and the same value as the shilling. This meant that people could continue using their old shillings alongside the new coins without confusion. In fact, shillings remained legal tender until 1990, when the larger 5p coins were finally withdrawn. When the 1971 coin entered circulation, it became a symbol of modernization. It wasn't just a new coin, it represented the biggest transformation in British coinage for centuries. Many older people at first struggled with the change, but younger generations quickly adapted, and soon the decimal system became second nature to everyone in the UK. The design of the coin also carried meaning. The reverse, designed by Christopher Ironside, featured the crowned thistle of Scotland, tying the new decimal coins to Britain's historic symbols of unity. At the same time, the obverse carried the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, reinforcing continuity during a time of great change. From 1971 to 1990, the large size 5 new pence coin circulated widely across the United Kingdom. People used it daily for small purchases, whether buying a newspaper, a loaf of bread, or a bus ticket. For nearly 2 decades, it was a trusted part of everyday life. But by the late 1980s, the coin was considered too large for its low value. Inflation had reduced its purchasing power, and carrying the larger coin was seen as inconvenient. So, in 1990, the Royal Mint introduced a smaller 5p coin, and the older, larger 1971-style 5p coins were demonetized, meaning they could no longer be used in shops. Today, the 1971 5 new pence coin is remembered not for its rarity or value, but for its role in history. It marks the very beginning of Britain's decimal journey and the end of an ancient money system that had lasted over 1,000 years. When it comes to the value of the 1971 5 new pence coin, the most important factor isn't rarity, it's condition. This is where collectors pay close attention, because the difference between a heavily worn coin and a mint state example can be dramatic. Let's break down the key stages of coin condition, often referred to as grading. Most of the 1971 5p coins you'll find today are in circulated condition, meaning they were used in everyday transactions for many years. Because these coins were in people's pockets, purses, and tills, they show obvious signs of where coins in fine or very fine condition still show clear designs. But where is noticeable? The Queen's portrait remains visible, though finer details like facial features and hair curls are slightly faded. The thistle on the reverse still has definition, but the crown's tiny ornaments may be worn. Surfaces may have minor scratches and dullness, but the coin is overall intact. Collectors often pick up these coins as historical keepsakes, though their market value is still modest, around 10 to 30 pence in extremely fine EF condition. The coin shows only light circulation where the Queen's portrait is crisp, with most details still visible. The thistle remains sharp, and the crown above it retains its fine decoration. Luster, the natural shine from the original minting process, may still be partially present. These coins attract more interest from collectors, often selling for around £1 or slightly more, especially if kept clean. Coins in about uncirculated EU condition have minimal wear, perhaps just the lightest rubbing on the highest points of the design. Surfaces still shine with original mint luster. The Queen's hair details, facial features, and tiara are crisp and sharp. The thistle and crown show almost no loss of detail. Collectors love coins at this grade because they're much harder to find than ordinary circulated examples. Values can reach £2, £3, sometimes more depending on market demand. Finally, the top condition category is brilliant uncirculated, BU, or mint state MS. These are coins that have never been used in circulation. They often come from coin sets, proof sets, or have been stored carefully since the day they were minted. Surfaces are bright and reflective, showing full mint luster. No scratches, discoloration, or wear should be present, aside from tiny bag marks from the minting process. Every detail of the Queen's portrait and the thistle reverse is crystal clear that I end this condition. Coins can sell for £3, £5 or more, especially if certified by professional grading companies. Proof versions packaged by the Royal Mint in 1971 can sometimes fetch £10, £15, especially if still in their original display cases. For collectors, how you store the coin makes a big difference. Coins should be kept in a dry, cool environment to prevent tarnishing. Using coin flips, plastic capsules, or albums protects them from scratches and fingerprints. Cleaning is not recommended, as it can damage the surface and reduce value. Collectors prefer natural toning over a polished, damaged coin. Even though the 1971 5 Pence coin is not rare, collectors still hunt for the best preserved examples. This is because coins in mint condition are harder to find over time. Most people spent theirs, and very few thought to save pristine ones back in 1971. While a worn coin may only be worth pennies, a high-grade, uncirculated, or proof coin represents both a historical artifact and a piece of numismatic art in its best possible state. In summary, condition is everything when it comes to the 1971 UK 5 Pence coin. From worn circulated examples that are mostly valuable as historical keepsakes, to mint state proofs that shine like the day they were made, the grade of your coin determines whether it's worth pennies or pounds.